So I'm traveling, and in the car on my long drive, I was enjoying listening to a discussion by Viraj, who is one of the amazing people who work with the Jay Shetty certification program that I'm taking for life coaching. And interestingly, the topic that he was discussing in this lecture mirrored what I had been listening to earlier in the day when I was listening to an audiobook by Brene Brown, Getting Ready in the Morning, Rising Strong. The parallel was to storytelling. Now, storytelling is usually a very positive thing, but there can be a problem with the story that we're telling ourselves. What is happening in the narration in your head that may be leading to limiting beliefs? A negative framework for how you are responding to, interacting with people and situations. For example, I have a story about why I am where I am in life. So the story is, when I was a teenager, I had actually been in the music industry for many years. I was a writer, producer, vocal coach, vocalist, pianist, and guitarist. And I would perform, write, sing for myself, for other people. It was a really fun, amazing, creative lifestyle, and it really was in alignment with who I was and where I wanted to go. I had moved to New York City when I was 17 years old, living on couches and just going after my dreams. And I really wanted to be signed by RCA Records. That was my dream. I then met someone who really did not want me to be in the entertainment industry anymore, and he wanted to marry me. I really didn't know this person very well either, which was also not a great idea to get married when you don't know someone well. But regardless, the decision I made at that point in time was to say yes and to change my entire career. The story I told myself about that was that it was the right thing to do, because really, I mean, how could I have a family? How could I have a good life if I was in the music industry? And that this person was going to save me from actually negativity that honestly I wasn't really experiencing. I had a realistic experience with the music industry. It has its challenges, but I really had a positive experience. And I was able to grow and really enjoy creatively and personal growth through that career. I'd also been accepted to the School of Music Business at NYU, which was really, really exciting. I worked really hard for that. So when I decided to change careers in my mind for this person, and then did the mental gymnastics to actually make it, oh, it's for my betterment, this will lead to a better life, I signed over my own authority over my own decision making. Now, fast forward years later, I became a physician. Love that career. Have no regrets about becoming a physician, also in alignment with who I am. Interestingly enough, though, this same person over time influenced me to feel that I also shouldn't be a physician. And I gave up on that too. I allowed myself to put that to the side after I had worked so hard on it for many years, for over a decade, the same way I'd been working on music for almost a decade. When I put that to the side for someone that told me that my future would be better if I did that. So the important part of this story is not that that person was influencing me. That's not the important part of the story. The important part of the story is that I was influenced. The important part of the story is that I chose to believe that sacrificing what I had worked for, what I had dreamed of, what I was doing successfully for someone else's idea of what a better future for me would be, that's where the issue is. So digging deeper, why was I buying into that narrative? Why was that the story I was telling myself? And I think a big part of it was a feeling of undeserving of these things that I thought were really important. And so therefore, if I'm undeserving, I don't deserve to achieve higher levels within those fields. And when someone came with a narrative that was similar, that synced. Once it was synchronized, it was really hard for me to see outside of that. Was that a negative external influence? Yes. But the story I was telling myself was that that was true. And the thing is, it wasn't true. And so now I'm living a life in alignment where I am looking back at the creative things that I used to do and putting them together with the health-related and wellness-related things that I have done with my experience working as a neurologist, working with patients, and putting that all together to move forward in a way that allows me to best help other people, because that is something that is a core value of mine. And I can do that now with the understanding that I have to be really careful about making sure that I am affirming for myself my worthiness. I have the same level of worth that every other person has. And if I work hard enough and if I am persistent, I can achieve my goals. I have to believe that, though, for that to be the case. And I cannot forfeit my future or my autonomy to anyone else. I have to take my future into my own hands and march every day on forward towards my goals for me to be successful. What stories are you telling yourself that might be limiting you? What are your limiting beliefs about yourself that when something comes around negatively in your environment that synchronizes with that could be really like a rock that holds you down in place? Can we set it down so that we can move forward without that burden? But remember, you can't do that by just severing the ties with the person or the job. That's not the real problem. The real problem is you're buying into that. You've got to figure out why. And we need to work really hard on changing that narrative in our mind so that we can really start working towards our success, our goals. And it begins with believing in yourself.